Hello, welcome to the video. I'm Andrew. This is the latest K truck I've got up for sale. I'm going to show you around it. So this is a 2011 Mitsubishi Minicab K truck. The spec is VX SE and this is a four-wheel drive with 5-speed manual transmission. This was a grade 4B at auction in Japan. It's done around about 63,800 miles, just over 100,000 kilometers. You may notice some of it's a little bit wet. That's because we love to talk about the weather in the UK, don't we? We're in the situation where it's sunny for 10 minutes and then it's throwing it down with rain. I only came out with one cloth when I was doing this video, so I've dried most of it. The roof's a little bit damp in places, but hopefully you will forgive me for that. Okay, I think this is one of the most comfortable of the K trucks of this sort of era. You'll have seen others on my channel: Suzuki Carry, Honda Acti, Daihatsu Hijet. This is Mitsubishi's offering. Let's have a look around the outside of it first of all. I mentioned in one of the previous videos I did, it's very rare to find a K truck with an aerial that hasn't been bent or damaged or snapped off altogether, but this is actually another one of those where the aerial is in fine fettle. Strange to start on the aerial, I know, but it's an interesting sign, well, interesting for me anyway, a sign of careful previous ownership. Okay, so we have a matching set of Yokohama Super Van tyres with plenty of tread left on them. A little storage box there for some tools, whatever else you fancy, maybe your lunch. I think I'd probably keep my lunch in the cab, but anyway. Monsoon shields, rain shields over the windows, as you can see. A ladder rack there. Well, ladder or long pieces of wood, whatever else you wish to carry. Scaffolding poles. I'm coming in a bit closer here. We've got a work light which only switches on when the engine's on, which is why I'm not switching it on right now. High level brake light. Quite a nice thick rubber load bed liner there as well. The underneath is very clean. If you're not familiar with these, the sides and the rear gate there fold down. The sides fold all the way down, and the rear gate can either go horizontal, it's got some chains to hold it in place, or it can flop all the way down. So I've converted the offside reversing light into a fog light there. If you're going to buy one of these, in fact, if you're going to buy any Japanese import vehicle, do have a look for the rear fog light, because I do see a number for sale without it, and that essentially means, in my eyes, it's had a dodgy MOT, and I would like you to ask yourself, if they've overlooked that, what else have they overlooked? Rant over, let's carry on. So as you can see, the bodywork is very, very clean. Quite rare to find a K truck of this age that's covered this sort of distance with bodywork as clean as that, in my opinion. I know I would talk the truck up, wouldn't I, because I'm trying to sell it, but if you go around and look at a few, you'll know what I mean. Let's have a look inside. Hasn't been smoked in, so nice clean smell. A slight smell of rubber in this one at the moment because I have treated it to a brand new set of mats. I'll just move my little carpet out of the way so you can see those. Put that back there to keep them clean. So manual windows, which are a refreshing change actually. Reminds me of cars I had when I was learning to drive. Cup holder. In case you're wondering about this, why is that designed to be removed? The brake fluid reservoir is under there. Indicators on the right, as they are in all imported vehicles, well, made in Japan imported vehicles anyway. This one's got air conditioning, and the air conditioning works. It's nice and cool. The four-wheel drive on-off is a switch, but the high-low ratio, because this one also has high-low ratio, is on a lever down there. And we've got some instructions on how to operate that just there. FM, AM, single speaker radio here. The FM frequency range, you're probably aware, is slightly different in Japan. So this can tune some stations like Radio 2, for example, but not all of the full range of UK stations. Decent sized glove box there. We've got the original owner's manual in Japanese and the service records as well, and it comes with 2 keys. Coin holders, very popular in this vehicle. We've got one there, we've got another one down there, and we've got another one there, and there you'll see the fog light switch that I've added. I'll show you the engine. In case you hadn't guessed yet, the engine is under here. So I've put the camera on the stand just for the purposes of showing you this. So the way to access the engine is different for the driver's seat and the passenger seat. The driver's seat has a little latch there to fold it, and then under here there are 2 catches, and then it folds up like that. And on the passenger side we have the same 2 catches, but we don't have any fancy folding mechanism. We just take the seat base out altogether. So there we have one engine. This is a good opportunity for me to tell you about the prep work that I've done to this vehicle. It's passed the MOT with no advisories, by the way. So it's had air filter, engine oil and oil filter. It's had timing belt, water pump, coolant, all 3. It's got 3, you can't see all 3, I'm just pointing to one of them. Auxiliary belts have been changed. It's also had a new clutch, so that's obviously the friction material, clutch cover, release bearing and pilot bearing as well. So around the other side we have power steering, washer bottle, coolant expansion. It's had new plugs too, I forgot to mention that, I knew I'd forget something. Timing belts under there, there's the sticker that came with the timing belt kit to remind you that it's been changed. If you need any parts from Japan, by the way, I import parts pretty much every week, so do give me a shout via the website andrewsjapanesecars.com. Okay, we've had a look around it, let's find out what it's like to drive. So foot on the clutch to start this one up. All the requisite warning lights come on and go off as they should. Clutch is nice and light, and the bite point is just where you would expect it to be in a vehicle that's just had a new clutch fitted. So first gear is very low. In fact, they're geared very low in general, and that's quite deliberate because of the work that they are designed to do. If you visited Japan, particularly if you visited rural Japan, you will have no doubt seen these in their natural environment, so to speak. I've just realised I've knocked the wing mirror. You will have seen these in their natural environment, and that environment is basically all over the place, including going up some pretty impressive slopes, hence the need for the low gear ratios. Also remember, it's empty at the moment, but we can carry 350 kilos in this plus 2 passengers, so when it's loaded up a bit more we're going to need those lower gears to help get moving as well, particularly if we're getting moving up a slope. So you work your way up through the gears. I'm into 5th already, doing about 40 miles an hour at the moment. In terms of how fast will they go, well, truth be told, my mechanical sympathy has stopped me from ever driving one of these to you know, basically take it to as fast as it will go. I'm pretty sure that would also involve breaking the speed limit even on a motorway, so yeah, I haven't done that. Will they do 70? Yes, they will, but you're pushing it pretty hard at 70. I feel trucks like this I'm much happier between 50 and 60 in terms of a cruising speed, so about 80 to 100 kilometers an hour. In terms of comfort, we'll start with leg room, because I have a lot of inquiries from people who are relatively tall asking me if they'll fit. So I'm 6 feet tall, there's plenty of space for my knees before we start hitting the dashboard, or they're not brushing against the steering wheel or anything else like that. So I think the Minicab compares very favourably to its peers in terms of things like Suzuki Carry, Daihatsu Hijet, Honda Acti, in terms of space for the driver. Comfort wise, the seats are reasonable. I think they're probably very much what you'd expect, in that they are not the most comfortable seats you will experience. These are very much designed with a sort of a utility first perspective, and you can tell in things like the seats, the backrest, etc., etc. That's not to say it's uncomfortable, but it's certainly not as comfortable as, let's say, a lot of the K cars I import, for example. In terms of the ride quality, I think I would say overall not bad, but again, you've got to remember it's designed with utility in mind. There are leaf springs at the back, and we haven't got any weight in the back, so you will find, and you could probably tell, I think I've got image stabilization on one of the cameras but not the other one, so you can probably tell it's a little bit choppy, bouncing around a little bit. Not too bad, I think, as I say, very much what you'd expect. Steering is really nice and light. It points straight. Obviously, I would have had the alignment done if it didn't. But yeah, really nice and light. This one's got hydraulic power steering. Indicators on the right, as they are for all vehicles like this imported from Japan. Nice positive gear change. None of this that you have on a lot of modern cars, where you kind of the gear shift just feels like it's going all over the place. You know, it's not a real positive, precise shift. So this feels really good. In terms of power, this is I think they're about 54 horsepower. If I find out subsequently that they're not, I'll correct myself on the screen. Feels like it's plenty for this vehicle, actually. I mean, I hope you're not expecting it to be a sports machine. Clearly, if you are, you've maybe not quite grasped the concept of the K truck. But it feels nippy enough, and you can make good progress. You have to work the gears, obviously, as I said. One other thing you need to remember with these is don't drive it like a diesel. What I mean by that is you need to rev the engine a little bit, or allow it to rev. That doesn't mean thrash it, but it does mean don't allow it to bog down, because you definitely won't get, it's not that good for the engine, and you definitely won't get the best performance if you drive it like that. So you do need to let it rev a little bit. What you generally find when you're driving, if you're driving on a road that you know well, you'll be in one gear higher than you would be in your everyday sort of family car when compared to this. The road noise, I would say not too bad at all. Again, you've got to remember this is designed with utility in mind first of all, so it's not insulated as well as your family hatchback might be, but I think they've done a pretty good job. So overall, I would say the K-Truck driving experience, for me anyway, is a refreshing change to the sort of standard everyday cars that we end up covering a lot of miles in. The simplicity, the utility of it, I think is really refreshing. As I say, I hope you do too. Visibility is excellent, both in terms of the obvious screen. The mirrors are really good. The mirror on the passenger side is a kind of a three-way view, so it's really useful for driving narrow roads like we are at the moment. You can see exactly how close your near side wheel is to the verge or the curb, and that's really useful in these because they are so small compared to most of what we're used to driving that you often find out your road positioning can change quite substantially from what you're used to. So really useful to have that. The brakes are surprisingly good. A nice firm pedal, good initial bite, nice and progressive in terms of the stopping. Again, not like the sort of mushy pedal, even when you've bled the brakes well, the mushy pedal that you end up finding on a lot of vehicles these days. Okay, let's accelerate up through the gears. This is a faster bit of road, so we'll get up to 50 or 60. There we go, 80 kilometers an hour, that's 50 miles an hour. It feels quite happy at this, feels like you could go all day long at this sort of speed. It will go faster, it'll definitely do 60. As I say, I'm pretty sure it'll do 70 and probably beyond that as well, but I like to be a bit more sympathetic to my vehicles and not thrash the absolute nuts off them, so I think 50 to 60 for one of these is very reasonable. I must say the cornering ability is pretty good for what it is, actually. That wasn't pushing it to its limit just there, but not the sort of unnerving body roll that you may expect just by looking at one of these from the outside without having driven it. Okay, that's about it for this video. Thanks for joining me as I showed you around this 2011 Mitsubishi Minicab truck. I hope you liked it. If you liked it so much that you are interested in buying it, then obviously I would love to sell it to you. There will be an email address in the description of this video where you can get in touch with me to ask any questions that you might have about it, if you want to know the registration number to get an insurance quote, or if you want to come and have a look at it and have a test drive. Thanks very much for joining me. Subscribe if you want to be notified when I put out more videos like this, because I try and do a video like this for every car that I sell. I look forward to seeing you again for the next one. Bye for now.